Hey everyone, it's your girl Maddie here, aka Beaver Mosh, and today I am joined by Garrett of Maul, who just put out their new EP, Desecration and Enchantment, off of 20 buck spin. Before I get too into that, I do want to thank my latest patron, Tempe Ranchero. Thanks for joining the Patreon. Uh, Now, Garrett, thanks for joining me tonight. How are we doing today?
Real quick, shout out Tempe Ranchero. I'm doing all right. I just woke up from a nap, made a quick little coffee thing, and rolled a joint.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
doing all right. Yeah, we played a show last night in Minnesota.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really good. It
Yeah.
was a good night.
Now, I want to ask you first, your scene, Fargo. You also share it with Phobophilic and other bands. It seems like that city is really popping off in terms of death metal. Like, what's going on there? Would you say?
It's wild
Yeah.
because Fargo has always been a huge DIY hardcore punk scene, like always,
Hmm.
and there's always been metal. But a lot of the metal now is really, really young kids that grew up learning how to do shows, learning how to play shows, and that DIY hardcore like ethos.
Yeah.
Like Phobophilic, I've been watching those dudes play in bands since like 2013 in
Hmm.
different hardcore and metalcore bands. Yeah, the metal scene right now is like popping off. There's so much thrash and death, not so much black metal anymore, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I saw a video that was going around of someone like shouting out North Dakota, like the best or like his favorite bands from every state or something, and
Yeah.
it was like all the homies that like we knew everybody, and a lot of the comments were like, "Yeah, it's cold there. Everyone's angry." So, well, we can go with that. It is fucking cold,
Yeah.
and we are pissed about it. So,
I'm in the Twin Cities, so we kind of share a scene a little bit. There's some
okay,
crossover.
word.
Yeah. I'm in Minneapolis.
Oh, word. Yeah, we just played
Yeah.
St. Paul last night.
Cool. Cool. Um. Now, your new EP following up last year's Seraphic Punishment. Is this new EP teasing something, or is it just sitting kind of in place as a way to keep giving people more music under your name?
The idea was to just pump out more new music because like Seraphic Punishment we recorded in 2021, so and then it's at a year before it came out.
Hmm.
Um, and we had been playing those songs, most of those songs since the shutdown was lifted in like the fall of 2021. So,
Yeah.
and we've done quite a few tours on that. So it's just that artist feeling of like we should be doing more stuff. We should be doing something new, something bigger.
Hmm.
So the EP was just like our idea. We pitched it to Dave from 20 Bucks Spin of just like,
Yeah.
yo, how about like a cool little kick the door in, like we're here, there's an LP coming, but
Sure.
just to help our touring cycle, here's some new music, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I liked what you did, where you only put two of the tracks up available digitally, but if you wanted that third track, you had to get the cassette. I think, I don't know, not a lot of bands do that, but I think that's a great way to, like, hey, physical media is a thing.
Yep.
You'll get a little extra if you do that.
Yep. And that's like I know it's huge in death metal specific or metal in general, but like
Yeah.
having the physical uh copy, like the love for that is important, like holding
Hmm.
something, seeing the lyrics or the way that the tape thing unfolds or the LP uh line your notes or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, adding a little bonus to like, oh yeah, fuck, it's only on cassette, but shit, there's a track I'm never gonna, you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
think unless it's like you hear a live version of it or see a video of it online, I think we are just gonna keep it off. So I don't know, it just adds a charm to it.
Cool. Yeah.
And we've been
Uh,
playing it live, so I mean, come see us, you'll hear it.
yeah. I already mentioned I'm in Minneapolis, and you recorded this EP where I'm at, and you recorded at Signature Tone. It's also where bands like Alter and others have made records. Can you tell me what that place brings to your sound and why you chose it?
We had gotten the word from Phobophilic actually because they
Hmm.
have tracked their last three releases with him as well. Um, and Also, just side story note on Adam and Signature. I went down with a couple of members in Maul have a side project called Spec. It's like a hardcore group out of Fargo. But we went
Cool.
down and recorded their first 4-song EP with Adam, and I was helping them out, did a guest spot on it, and that's when I got to actually like meet and hang with Adam and see how he works.
Hmm.
And it's just, especially when we got in there as Maul and just the weekend we hammered out those 3 songs. It's the first time we've had like a full studio experience. Like that whole building is just for tracking music and playing, and it's like it
Yeah.
just it allows a cool uh separation from everything else of like everyone knows why we're here, we're hanging out. Adam's a goofy dude who knows exactly, like he's just a wizard the way he operates. He gets
Mhm.
you feeling comfortable. We tracked a lot of the takes that we did were played together, like everybody was in the room jamming, so it's that live real feel, no click. And that was just like really, that's more true to who we are. We're very much more on feel than everything being neat and perfect, and kind of yeah, clicked along, I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and yeah, you talk about Adam and metal seems, in my opinion, to I mean, other genres do to an extent, but metal really, I think, takes an effort to credit the people behind the board, the mixers, the masters, because it is important. You think of like other people named like Arthur Riddick. There are these specialists in metal music that know how to make it sound that way, and I think,
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say that it also speaks to like the type of engineer that you're with, or when you are with an engineer producer type, not producer, that seems weird, but he just knows how to like figure out your working style, your playing style, and like talks to you, and like I see what you're trying to do, but like maybe be okay with dumbing it down just to get like a 99% take instead of a 90% take you're not going to be happy with, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And then like, so in the studio it's instead of the way a drum fill went, it went a little bit different way, and now it's just like, fuck, why wasn't it always that easy and tossy? And that's like
mhm,
just a nice little input of Adam, because he understands how
yeah,
things sound, how things are put together too. So a smart person on top of being very very talented.
yeah. Now, metal journalists like myself like to throw out this term, the new wave of old school death metal. I'm a bit lukewarm on the term myself, but your band definitely sits firmly in that kind of classification. Why? Because I understand why the term is used, and why do you think there is such an interest over the past, say, 10 years in this certain death metal sound that you play?
I I was right along with it on the rise of it, because I don't even know how that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew up on death metal, on like when I was first getting my own CDs. It was like Dying Fetus and
Of course.
Cannibal Corpse, like Deicide, the big names. I was completely unaware there was this whole underground scene of like your Demolicks and shit like that.
Yeah.
Uh, but did I get that out? I remember specifically it was a Gate Creeper record in like 2016 that I was just
Sure.
like, and I was at a job I was at working with an older guy who liked, he actually grew up on death metal because he was like 10 years older than me, and just had this giant book of CDs. Anyway, we were listening to a bunch of old stuff. He was introducing me to it, and then like
Yeah.
Gatekeeper came along, and I was like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And yeah, like that made me backtrack the last like 5 years, 6 years of stuff, because I don't know. I just wasn't listening or keeping up to like newer metal like that. I was really, I was into hardcore. I was into a bunch of different shit, really.
Yeah.
Um, and the boom, yeah, I don't know how that tornado started, but it was really exciting, and to just be a fan in like 2018, 19, all of these insanely cool demos are coming out, and just like Bandcamp and Instagram are just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like some of the most fun I had on the internet, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you see bands like Phobophilic, Blood Incantation, Vastum,
Yep.
Tumult. There's just like this explosion, this like new movement. It's really exciting to just kind of be in the middle of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And now it's like
Mhm.
to like feel like it's a part of being a part of it too now. Because like,
Yeah.
I mean, chances are if you're into underground death metal, you've seen the Maul logo floating around now. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
we've been annoying about it. You know what I mean? We're always like, oh,
Yeah.
we're booking ourselves. Like, no, we're gonna make you see us. Damn
Now,
it.
can I ask you about wrestling? Because you've been
Yeah.
playing at wrestling events, even here in Minneapolis. What's the appeal of doing that for you? Can you tell me about those experiences?
I have been a wrestling fan since before I could talk. So
Hmm.
I would just, yeah, like literally sitting on my dad's lap watching. Um, and that was always the two things I wanted to do when I was younger too, was rock and roll and wrestle. So um, I stayed pretty true for 33 years now.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, one of the homies, Eric, shout out Eric, who runs Time Bomb, um,
Yeah.
started running those no ring deathmatch shows with, he would do like two matches and three bands, and we played one of the first ones, and it just made sense how they were like put together and how much the background scenes really are similar in
Hmm.
underground independent wrestling and music. It's just all like very, I mean, it is just DIY punk ethics, a lot of them, and the atmosphere that the crowds can bring, I mean, just mixing it between bands and matches and seeing
Yeah.
the Fight Club feel of just people getting the shit kicked out of each other, bleeding right in front of you, or getting
Yeah.
showered with some stray glass. Like
Yeah.
there's a there's a there's a thrill. There's a very special part in my heart that it vibes with. So seeing Eric take his passion project like that, because I used to play with him in bands too in like 2010. Um, just Time Bomb flourished the way it is, and I commentate for them, and so I've
Yeah.
wrestled with them. It's just like a big like a gang mentality of like, yeah, we're just everyone's like ready to do their job for Time Bomb, and it's always makes
Hmm.
shows exciting.
Yeah, I am admittedly not that familiar with the wrestling world, but I do have friends who have gone to Time Bomb events and have talked to like, yeah, these bands have been playing them, and I think you'd be interested. So I think I'm going to go to one later next month. So I'm excited to
Yep,
kind of get my feet
I'm
into
sad I have
that.
to miss that. I have to miss
Yeah,
that. Otherwise, I would be there commentating or announcing. But
yeah,
we'll be on the road. Yeah, that one's gonna be awesome. Deathmatch legend Nick Gage is gonna be there. So
cool. Yeah. Now, you're gonna be touring some U.S. dates soon. First off, the obvious question: are you excited? And two, what I really want to ask is, what are your go-to eats on tour? Do your bands have some stops you have to make?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very excited to go on the road. We've been spending almost pretty much 3 months total, completely renovating, uh, like a shuttle bus that we bought, and
Dope.
we built our own like bunks and bench like layout, and properly caged off gear wall and everything. And it's just like we're expecting to work a lot next year on the road, and being able to not have to worry about sleeping upright
Yeah.
is going to take a lot of stress. And then the hotels, Airbnbs, um, out of like necessity when we do this, like eliminates a lot of expenses. So we've been doing that like two times a week, 3 times a week, in between 3 times a week practices for
Yeah.
2-3 months. So it's just like this is this is what we've been working for now, is to get it on the road and promote this album, that or the EP that we've also just been since last December when we got home and started writing it. So
Yeah.
oh, and the go-to eats.
Hmm.
Uh, the first thing that came to mind when you said that is we always go to House of Mental. It is a vegan soul food spot in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah, we've played there 3 times, and we only went there twice. I don't think they were open the last time we went. But it's just little family run, incredible food. So we like to search around venue areas of just like, none of us are vegan, but we love vegan restaurants. We just don't get cool shit like that, even in North Dakota, just like really
Yeah.
good food. Um, go to spots. There's another vegan taqueria in Denton, Texas called Pepitas,
Hmm.
which is just, a lot of these spots are going to be vegan. The Red Bamboo, I believe it's called, in Brooklyn or New York City, is some of the craziest food I've ever had. Yeah, that's nothing really like go to. We're always down to like switch it up, but the House of Mental in Little Rock for sure always gets the shout out.
Yeah. Vegan food is hard to come by in some areas. There are quite a few good vegan oriented spots here in the Twin Cities,
Yes,
but
absolutely.
yeah, Modern Times is the place that comes to mind first.
I like Modern Times. I like Trio
Yeah,
a lot.
Trio's good. Trio's good. Reverie.
Reverie
Um,
is great.
yeah. So and Hard Times, but pretend I'm gonna ask you to pretend that I'm a total death metal noob. Pretend I don't run a show talking about it. Pretend I'm not wearing an immolation shirt. This does not exist. Uh, and you want to sell death metal to me. In your opinion, what are the seminal essential records that I need to go hunt down to learn about this sound?
um, so it's gonna be great because you're gonna get different things from me. Everyone wants to say like the Morbid Angel Altars
Yeah,
record and stuff like that, and I never those records never like spoke to me the way that other ones did. So my recommendations are gonna be uh, Legion by Deicide.
of course.
You're gonna get demonic vocals. You're gonna get just shreddy, like true to the thrashy sound, like sloppy sounding solos, almost like
Yeah,
this like intensity. The way that those Glenn's vocal patterns like lash you are fucking crazy to feel, especially if you've never heard
yeah.
anything like that. I feel like, and it's groovy. Like you can find a groove in it. So,
Hmm.
um, damn. Mm, I'm so bad at this type of shit. I messed things up now.
You're good.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry.
You're good. Deicide, it's when I hear those early Deicide records, like legitimately sound evil. And you mentioned that
Yes.
the groove, I think, is part of it. I think it's also why Immolation has that appeal. It's like the blasphemous lyrics and just these dirty, almost like you said, sloppy kind of sound. Like they're great musicians, but they play
Hmm.
in this unpolished format that is
Hmm.
so sickening.
Hmm. Hmm. It's
Yeah,
supposed to feel fucking
yeah.
blistering, and it does. It is. Yeah.
You
I'm
now,
just gonna say that.
yeah, yeah. I'm curious to go back to a point you made earlier. You mentioned Demolik, and that being like your foray into this more underground movement in death metal. And yeah, I think that record in particular, because they've only done one, is like
Hmm.
kind of a point in the genre's history from where it was like this is the old school and this is the new these are the new bands. And I
So this is the
w-
weird shit.
yeah, yeah. What do you think that record, like, what do you think was so important about it? Like, why? Because it's one of my favorite records of all time. But
I can't believe that that type of music was being played in like 92 or 1 3 whenever that shit was being written and released. Like,
yeah,
um, it's just so different. It's a trip. Like the string skipping, like how all of those loops, the riffs, like just become their own hooks, and then the fucking the gurgly vocals are just like I've never heard anything like that until then.
yeah,
Um, I had no idea it was always like, or I don't know if it was always revered, or if it's kind of like a 20-year like hindsight thing. Like, damn, that was really a pivotal type thing that they did, because like
yeah.
Demo didn't do a lot, you know what I mean? So,
No,
um, and I don't know, I just wonder how much what kind of impact it did have when it did come out. just to be around there. Also, like World Without God, Convulse and shit. Like, where and what does another record? Oh, I can't think of it. But there was like just like some of the earlier like they weren't quite brutal death metal, but they were putting in those like halftime, almost like slammy breakdown parts.
Yeah.
There was like dancey death metal parts before that was even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
where people nowadays are all kinds of like mosh style to death metal. Like it's always
Mm-hmm.
been like that, but
Yeah.
it's cool to like go back and see that was already obviously being blended a lot. It just wasn't thought of that way as being like hardcore or anything.
Yeah. And you're right. Demolic kind of was like the weird band, but like I mean, Gorguts was doing Obscura kind of
Yep.
around that time. There was Atheist,
Yep.
there was Cynic, there was like the progressive death metal, but
The
there's
super
something
jazzy, yeah.
yeah, but there's something about what Demolic did in kind of this like just we're not necessarily super technical or complicated. We are just completely doing our own fucked up thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Same with that Infester record too. Like,
Yes.
it's insane that was like it's so grimy feeling. Like you, I
Mhm.
just listened to that yesterday too. Yeah, just bizarre, like evil sound and shit that was just super underground, super niche, and like
Mhm.
one album, one demo type shit.
And then eventually death metal splintered out into so many different things. You have like the melodic death metal. You have these like
Mm-hmm.
bands like Ulcer and Portal doing this like dissonant death metal stuff. You have, you mentioned brutal death metal. You have your Suffocation, and like it's just exciting for like people on the outside don't know how diverse this one subgenre of death metal can really be to a trained ear. It's
Mm-hmm. And the also like the one of the big new wave of old school was like the incantation sound that
mm-hmm.
too, like this like super cavernous and like crazy fast shit, but then it's just doomed like, and that's a genre of death metal that might speak to me the most, is like doomy. Like the more black metal or funerally it gets, the better for me. Like
Yeah, so I think like you're going back to like those Dead Congregation records or
yep.
like Witch Vomit and bands like that.
Spectral Voice.
Spectral Voice, Undergone. We could just go on and name drop
Yep. Yeah.
bands. It's fun, yeah.
And I love doing that shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
So funny.
so then I guess the question is, why did that come back? Why was the doominess, the kind of more dark, almost sludgy sound coming back into death metal?
Because it's badass.
Yeah.
About it. No, I
Yeah.
don't know. Like I said, it definitely speaks to me the most. And like slower, chuggier, sludgier riffs have always spoke to me, even when I was
Mm-hmm.
little. Like hearing some of those like Alice in Chains songs that had like
Oh.
really, um, even or just like some blues songs that had like the chuggy
Mhm.
sounds, and like it's always just like captured my eye, or my like vibe with me, right? Um, I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know. Doom's just cool. It sounds evil.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of atmosphere layers you can add to it, and think of like like I said, like funerally. Like I just like there's something about those like tritones and shit that just like
Yeah.
grabs me, speaks to me somehow.
And there are good death metal bands playing with different things, but it seems like maybe, and this may be an unfair assessment. I feel like some of the good melodeath kind of got sucked up into like maybe the more metalcore and deathcore scenes, and then like the brutal death metal kind of became bland. But there is still like these bands that we mentioned that are kind of keeping that traditional kind of foundational sound alive.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yeah. There's something for everybody if you like extreme music in just
Yeah.
death metal.
I also love that you mentioned Alice in Chains, because this is something I've thought a lot. Like, the traditional kind of music historian will say that there was metal and then grunge hit and it was like this different thing and it kind of killed metal, which I've always thought was bullshit. But I don't actually think there is this separation. I think you listen to Dirt by Alice in Chains, it's a metal album to me. Like those are
Right.
metal riffs, those are metal, that's metal attitude, those are metal lyrics. And it's
Mhm.
same thing with
Right.
Soundgarden. It's maybe
Right.
not so
Yeah.
much Pearl Jam, but it's those are, I mean, metalheads love that stuff for good reason.
Absolutely. And it was aggressive. Like it had a
Yeah.
lot of like emotion, so it was heavy in a different way. But you know what I mean? It was like dirty rock metal. Like there's no way you
Yeah.
couldn't call it that same family.
Yeah, I don't think Alice in Chains when they toured with I think it was Megadeth like was really that bizarre. I mean, it was received as being weird at the time, but like it makes sense of me looking back. Can I
Yeah.
ask
So
you? Yeah,
for
how
sure.
did you personally get into metal? Like, what was your starting point with that?
Like I mentioned, I was always just into like whenever my dad would play like rock or metal, like it was, he's like 70 some now, so he's like listening to like southern rock greatest hit CDs and shit like that. And one of
Hmm.
like my first favorite things ever was George Thorogood and the
Yeah,
Destroyers. And like, yeah, just and it was heavy. Like it was. I remember headbanging in the backseat. Like I like I mean, I don't know if I remember, but I remember whenever that tape went in, I was like stoked. Um, so I've always been into it. I remember having like my own cassettes too of like George Thorogood and Kiss and shit like that. And I had older cousins. I had gotten into Ozzy
of course.
and yeah, Ozzy and Black Sabbath, and then like just through the pipeline of like what was on also with MTV, you know what I mean? So I was getting into Rob Zombie, and then like all at once it was like Korn and Mushroom Head and Slipknot, and like I just got hit with that being fucking 11, 12. You know what I mean? And yeah, I just kind of kept searching, doing my own thing. Somehow it led into like buying grindcore CDs, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, there's just something about the distortion has always been the thing that draws me. So and the groove of it.
Would you still consider yourself a Slipknot fan?
Yeah, but I don't really know. I don't know any like real songs of theirs from the last 10 years.
Yeah, yeah, no, I don't really care about them,
Um,
like modern Slipknot, but like, there's been like,
yeah,
I read a death metal history book, and they actually interviewed a lot of death metal bands about Slipknot, and like the reception seemed to be pretty good. I think when you look at new metal, looking back, I think Slipknot kind of separates themselves from some of the other bands, and I
yeah,
really enjoy at least the first two Slipknot records, Iowa
absolutely,
particularly. Yeah.
absolutely. And there's so much death metal parts on Iowa.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's not full on, obviously, but like the blasting and the like the ferocity or whatever I'm trying to say of the record in parts and the way it's so pissed. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it's hard to, and it's well done. It's, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
masterclass writing, really. I mean, some of it can be like looked at as just new metal corniness if you wanted to, but like I don't know. I think what they did for extreme music on whatever that is, like being known and getting shit like that on the radio, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like if you care, I mean, I don't really care about like that big mainstream thing, but it's like they really were putting out heavy ass shit on the biggest scale you could.
Yeah, I think, and I think they've kind of, I think Corey Taylor's kind of fallen off a little bit, but I think
Yeah, absolutely.
in early days, I don't think they had any intention of taking extreme metal and I don't know, quote unquote, watering it down. I think they were legitimately into it and just kind of played
Mm-hmm.
it their own way, and it just for some reason attracted a bigger audience, and
Yeah,
good on them.
and then yeah, other all kinds of other things come into play of like radio and blah blah blah, and then
Yeah.
you see the different structured songs and layouts of shit, and yeah, and then it just I don't even know if watering down is like weird, but yeah, you can tell it's like just not the same. You can't be young and pissed forever, so you're never going to capture whatever they had that time.
Yeah, yeah. Which is probably what happened to a lot of the thrash bands back in the middle of their career. Just like
Right.
that energy was gone. So
Hmm.
I want to ask you about 20 Buck Spin. Your label now. Because I mean, as an outsider looking at what 20 Buck Spin is doing, that label is just kicking ass right now. There's so much good metal coming off a 20 Buck Spin. What has been the experience working with them so far?
And that's something too with the that blow up of death metal, like resurgence in the last 10 years or whatever. Was 20 Buck Spin was like one of the main labels I fell into of just like holy shit, like all of these bands are awesome.
Yeah,
So they've obviously they've proven their name in like holding it down for what underground death metal, like you know what I mean, like I would say they are the
oh yeah.
top of underground death metal, you know what I mean, like it doesn't get any bigger than that without being
Hmm.
like a legacy label basically. um it's been awesome. They it was just over a DM while we were on tour, and they liked what we were doing. They liked how much we were working and being on the road. Dave liked the album that Thomas and Redefining Darkness did a fucking awesome job with.
Yeah.
Um, so I couldn't be more happy of how Traffic Punishment was like received. I guess it's like the first time I ever put on a full length album, so it's like, yeah, working with Tony Westman is just we agreed to do a couple of albums together, and we told them how much we wanted to be touring, and they let us know what they offer and how they help, how they can help. But it's still very much, just been us steering the wheels, kind of, you know, getting shit done the way that we have been, a little bit more,
Yeah.
a little bit bigger. Um, but I'm really excited. We're recording LP2 with Adam and Signature Tone again.
Mm.
Um, and it's going to be over like the course of a full week of just being there to do that.
Cool.
Um, I don't know. So that's when the real work happens. Like once
Yeah.
that starts, we're we're pretty much almost done writing it. Yeah, I don't know. Just seeing what the umbrella of 20 Bucks been, just that platform, and then us happily being road dogs about it and flying that banner too.
And I'm sure 20 Buck Spin pretty much gives you 100% leeway and creative control. Like you get to play the
Yeah,
music you want to play.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's nothing weird like that at all.
Hmm.
They just want us to, do what we've been doing. Why he hit us up,
Hmm. Now, I mean, without spoiling anything, will the new record in any way be an evolution from Seraphic Punishment? I'm sure at least to an extent it will be.
Yes. So damn, this is going to be a Beaver Mosh exclusive. The idea with LP2, like all of our mindset was to like we had it's kind of talking about that young and pissed thing. Like when Maul first started, we were very much like influenced by like Shabalba and
Okay,
Harm's
yeah.
Way, like very very metally doomed out sludgy hardcore, or you know what I mean. Like that's basically what Maul started on. It was always going to be death metal, sludge, and hardcore. Um, and we just kind of evolved, obviously, as we like Robbie started playing drums with Maul. Like he learned how to play drums writing the first songs that we did. So, we're obviously just really growing and tightening up. I mean, four of us have been in the band now for 3 years. Three of us have been since it started. Um, so that connection is just really plus touring. You know what I mean? That just evolves every game. But so LP2, we want to try to. We're just trying to write a bunch of ass beaters, really. Like it's
Yeah.
really just it's a very stompy, aggressive record. We're doubling down on the doom and atmosphere. We have three guitarists now, so we're adding a bunch of layers.
Yeah.
Um, but the ultimate goal is to that every song is just like there's no I hate saying that there's no fat. It's just, but it's like because there's a lot of thought. It's not just like simple
Hmm.
caveman chugging. You know what I mean? It's like
But
But
nothing wrong with caveman chugging though.
no, not at all, not at all. But like I don't want to ever be chalked up to like, oh, this is some mosh death metal band because we're there's a lot of
Yeah.
layers. But um, yeah, I'm excited. It's definitely nothing like the EP. The EP was meant to be like a standalone
Mhm.
feel. And it just felt good to write those kind of songs. Like, not that those layers won't be there, but specifically that second song, like Disintegration of the Soul. I don't know how many types of things we're gonna do like that, but it's fun to be
Yeah.
able to, especially for an EP, or just to like make it its own thing. Like, not be afraid to. It's still Maul. Like, we're still gonna make it. Like, or
Yeah.
let's see what we can experiment with.
You mentioned three guitars, and I'm like very curious. When I think of three guitars, my mind goes to like later Iron Maiden. Like, what does a three guitar setup look like? The conventional setup. There's a rhythm guitar and a lead guitar. So
Yeah.
what does the third guitar do?
So we do have. Um, so the third guitarist, Al, who's been with us for 3 years now. With a third guitarist, we call him like the lead, and he handles a lot of the solos, a lot of the ambient atmosphere that's like layered on. Of course,
Sure.
he's still coming in on like the big chunky parts, so
Yeah.
everybody's like hitting. Um, and we kind of have two layers of rhythm that change by also doing like harmonies and leads
Yeah.
that aren't necessarily the like effects and atmosphere leads, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like there's both of, I mean, everyone handles different things. It's kind of funny how we just like lob it
Mhm.
around. But yeah, the idea is that we have like the atmosphere layer lead, and then we have two rhythm leads that just kind of like, it just depends on the song or part, really, how they toss it around.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, so we're just diving into that a lot more. Um, it sounds fucking awesome live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you say this is gonna be coming out next year?
Yes. Yep. That
Yeah.
album will be out next year.
Cool.
Probably later
Cool.
in the year, but yeah.
Sweet. Sweet. Well, Garrett, I don't have any other questions for you, but before I do let you go, I want to give the floor to you for any last word, things I missed, or just kind of plugs you have for my audience.
Shit.
Yeah.
We, like I said, we're always on the road. We're going to be on the road a lot next year, even more. Um, I think that I don't know, it's weird, but like we like pride ourselves on being like a live show. Like everything that we do, it's not like manufactured or fake. Like we like use that stage energy and like the room energy as like this fucking experience. Like it is for me every single fucking time. Like it's like I could be having the worst fucking day,
Mhm.
and as soon as it's like uh sound check and ready to go, like it just like the music like just takes over. You know what I mean? It's like the most cathartic fucking experience it is, and I pride Maul on feeling heavy because of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, it's what we're trying to do. We're trying to uh, make it as much of our life as we can. So like, just come fucking check us out.
Cool.
uh, yeah, pretty much. Watch out for the LP2. Watch out for the EP Desecration and Enchantment to come out on other formats. Um, yeah, that's about it. Support your fucking local scene and
Yeah.
DIY spots, all ages spots. Start a fucking band. Start a podcast. Start a zine.
There's many
Yeah,
ways to get into and get involved in underground metal. So
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah. Well, you will definitely be seeing me at a show in the near future. And for my viewers at home, this was Maul. My name is Maddie, aka Beaver Mosh, and I'm
Your
signing
mom.
off.